Your job is to help your kids become who they are, not become what you want them to be.
Yeah. What I'm realizing now is that in between father and friend, there's a bridge called brother.
As a parent, he's like, you always got to remember the goal of every conversation is to get to have the next conversation.
With children,
Mm-hmm.
to use not the term of them being, collaterally exports, but that's our greatest export.
Yes.
That's our immortality. That we have 18 years to work on this little epic called our children.
Yeah.
And we don't own them and make them be like this. You've got children. How quickly? The biggest lesson I got when I first had kids was, I thought it was more culture and environment than DNA, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
The DNA, they're who they are.
Yes.
It was more DNA than I thought.
Yeah.
It was the first lesson I learned. I got slapped in the face by that because I thought it was like the parent is full sculpting. I was like, no, you're nudging and you're carving here, and you're trying to put more what's healthy and going to turn them on and feed them in front of them, and you want them to get a few bruises. You don't want to take away all the thicket in the broken glass, but you also don't want them to break their leg every time they go out the door. So you want to give them a little bit.
Your job is to help your kids become who they are, not become what you want them to be.
Yeah. And I've got teenagers now. That's a whole crazy fun game.
Yeah.
Of which I am happy to say I'm really enjoying. I feel like I'm hitting my honey hole of being a father. It's in ways the most challenging, but I didn't know that there was a stop between. I always thought it was your father early, and then later on you can become a friend.
Mm-hmm.
But don't become a friend too early.
Yeah.
Because they need a father.
Yeah.
What I'm realizing now is that in between father and friend, there's a bridge called brother.
Oh, sure.
And I'm able to, especially with my teenagers now, them be in a tough situation or a great situation and I'm patting them on the back rather than, hey, come here. Here's how you gotta.
Yeah.
And I'm not just going like, yeah, man. It's like I have a different arm around them. I'm with them going through things.
Yeah.
I also don't have to edit my good stories as much anymore. I can keep in the juicy stuff because they can be like, they get it now. And they're like, oh, really? You're like, yeah.
It's funny you meet families and you're like, oh, you guys like spending time together. Like that's And if that wasn't exactly your childhood experience, you're like, oh, it's like people go, like you just said, you got 18 years together. And then you see people and they're like, oh no, that they're spending, like I hear from people like one of my favorite things of all time is when somebody comes in to the bookstore to get one of my books because their kid told them about it. And I'm like, oh, you guys have a mutual relationship that is not primarily predicated on the fact that they live in your house.
Right.
Like you're like when someone's like, oh, let me text my son about that. I love it's like, oh, it's not that they're friends, but they have this exchange that surpasses, the legal part of the relationship. And so actually you have their whole life. If you do it right, you have your whole life, because ideally their life goes on longer than yours. Yeah. So you have they have your whole life to be taught and instructed and modeled, and that's how it can go if you do it right.
I like that spin of term. You have your whole life and they have your whole life, but you don't have their whole life.
Right.
Yeah. Access. My buddy Bart Nags had 3 daughters. You know Bart.
Yeah.
Talking about teenage years coming on, he's a good man, good father. And I was like, give me a hint, man. He goes, maintain access.
Yeah.
Keep access. And I've had to watch, again, going into the father to brother and being a friend, times where they'll share something and condemn themselves.
Yeah.
And I would have not known. And they're wise enough to know that if I don't tell, I'm probably not going to find out.
Yeah.
And first reaction, I go to judge and jury and then have to go, no, dude, they're sharing that with you.
Yeah.
There has to be we got to give some credit and a little bit of amnesty for the fact that they shared something that they knew they could have got away with.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah. And so learning the things that other parents already know, like you don't get it right here in the one-on-one sit downs. You get it driving to school, for the hour with the music on while they're looking out the window.
Yeah.
And it's not no, look me in the eye, unconditional, you know, attention right now.
Yeah.
That's hard for them.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get it in passing, throwing the ball,
and
you're getting this great stuff, you know. So I'm working on that, is maintaining access.
You know the story about George Washington and the cherry tree, chops on the cherry tree, and he tells his dad. I was reading once that we missed the lesson of the story because it's not real. It didn't actually happen. The lesson was that he told his dad what he did, and that he trusted wouldn't get his ass beat for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that, which would have been unique in the 18th century.
Yeah.
That he told his dad the truth, and his dad took the truth as the important thing, not I have to inflict punishment upon you for having screwed up in some way. That's what you want.
When I tell the story about me and my dad in there, when he got physical with me for stealing that pizza, he was not hurt because I stole the pizza.
Yeah.
He was hurt because I lied to him about it.
Yeah.
He'd stolen many freaking pizzas, man. He just want me to go, yeah, we stole the pizza, he got busted. He'd go, no, damn it. What if you're going to do that, you got to get away with it better.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Or what?
Yeah.
What'd you do with your allowance?
Right.
But he was never, and I didn't know that till after.
Right.
And I will never forget the pain in his eyes.
Interesting.
The fatigue of his jaw dropping was not how am I failing that my son stole a pizza? It was how am I failing that my son wouldn't just tell me the truth about that? How am I failing that I raised a son that lied to me 3 times about stealing? Like, God damn pizza. Come on, man. And but I remember that.
Thinking about I think the way I would think about it now is, what did he do that made you not feel comfortable telling him, right? Why did you lie? So because there's something we do, we want them to say, you can come to me. That's what we say. But then every day with our actions, we're like, if you come to me, it's bad for you, right? Like, we're not actually making it, there's what you say, and then there's the case that you make every day.
Dude, the night I wrote a little quick blurb on at the beginning about losing my virginity by blackmail when I was 15.
Yikes.
Maybe I was 14. You know what the threat was? No, you come to this hotel and you're going to, or I'm going to go to your house and tell your parents that you've been drinking beer at your log cabin you built in the woods.
Yikes.
I didn't tell my mom and dad that, man. I'm getting in trouble.
Yeah.
I know now. My parents would have been like, get your ass, told that girl to get your ass off our porch. How dare you try to manipulate your son? Come in here. And we'd have hugged it out. I didn't see it. And I would have not been blackmailed.
Right.
That night.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I've got a couple. I misread a couple of times. I'm sure there's more than that.
Right.
So we were miscommunicating, or I was misperceiving along the way in some way, or not seeing clearly, what I'd seen with my older brothers and how they were disciplined by rules and stuff like that. Maybe I didn't see it clearly.
There's a guy, Dave Carey, who lives in Georgetown.
Or maybe I was just chicken shit.
I was talking to someone the other day. I was like, I wish that my track coach just said, this to me. I would have gotten through. And my friend was like, they said that to you several times. What the fuck are you talking about? So there's something about, we can't hear what we're not ready to hear. So they probably told you 1,000 times, come to me no matter what it is, you won't get in trouble. And then you just refuse to hear. But anyways, there's this guy named Dave Carey who lives in Georgetown. He went to the Naval Academy. He was in the Hanoi Hilton with Stockdale and McCain. Mm-hmm. He was a prisoner of war for like 6 or 7 years. And anyways, I asked him once.
Just in Vietnam last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He's this amazing guy. And he was saying that one of the things he learned as a parent, he's like, you always got to remember that the goal of every conversation is to get to have the next conversation. I think about that a lot. Because you think your job is like, I got to discipline them. I got to get this point across. I got to make them understand this. And it's like, you don't know that this is the conversation where that is supposed to happen. Actually, it might be 15 years from now, they're going to be calling you with some problem or not calling you with some problem because of how you acted in this moment.
Yep. Amen. Yeah, that's a good one. It's a good one to remember.
It's good for life too, generally. It's
also takes some pressure off.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
Yeah. If you think this is the moment, you're probably going to, like, someone said
yeah,
that to me
I definitely have that I don't know, pride and arrogance to feel like, no, I got to make it clear right now. Yeah. And it's black and it's white. Do you understand it? Is that clear? Say it back to me. Great. Period. Done. Are we done now? Okay. Everyone got it? Yeah. Okay. Now let's have ice cream. Like,
and
instead of just going like, no, you don't have to put a period on the end of it.
Yeah.
Let's keep it open and we can still have the ice cream while we're finishing up the conversation.
Right. Which is that hey, we only got 18 years. It says who?
Right.
You know, you're not can't have any good conversations when they're 22.
Right.
I hope you could. So it's like kind of, I think whenever I'm extrapolating, I'm usually getting myself in trouble. Like I'm worried if you did this and then you don't understand this, then this, and you'll end up living under a bridge somewhere. Or, you know, in works, if I let them talk to me this way, in this situation, no one will ever respect me ever again. You know, it's that extrapolation based on, you know, an absurd series of assumptions.
But it's also, I think it's fair to say you and I really like logic.
Yeah. And not everything's so logical.
Most of these discussions are not about logic.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're very passionate and animal want.
Yeah.
Need reactionary discussions. I mean, I don't, you know, and I'm always like, 2 + 2 is 4. Yeah. There's the math.
Yeah.
What don't we get about that? That's a lot of times that's not the point that they're understanding or want to understand. They go, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was the math. That's not usually what they're asking.
Do you want to be right or do you want to be married? You know?